we are going to make beer cheddar soup. It's so easy that a 9-year-old can make it. So here are the ingredients that you need to have. Frozen or non-frozen peas. Onions. Bread. White cheddar. Cheese. Onion powder. Cream. Chicken broth. We wanted Irish beers. Oyster sauce. Hot sauce. Flour. Carrots. Bacon. And celery. And butter.
Happy St. Patrick's Day! St. Patrick was actually the saint of Ireland, and it was the day of feasts. And a little bit about our blog. It is dedicated to our children, Chloe and Zoe, and we're giving step-by-step tutorials and lifelong lessons. Thank you.
Now we're going to cook the bacon. I have my green plate, and now we're going to go carry it over here. You need a large saucepan, and you need to put it on medium-high.
And then, how long are we going to cook it till?
Until the meat is crisp. So we're
And the fat is rendered.
Yes. And then we are going to put it in the saucepan, just like this.
Hey everybody, so I'm gonna chop up all the vegetables while Chloe's cooking the bacon. First I guess we're gonna start with onions. Same as always, I'm just gonna chop the ends off. For this soup, this is a creamy soup. I don't want it to be chunky in the least. So I'm gonna saute these onions.
And saute means?
Cook them in butter or olive oil or some kind of oil until they're translucent, which means like kind of clear. It's the same with the garlic. If you don't cook this stuff first, it's kind of going to give your food a bitter taste. Same with the garlic. If you're just dumping garlic straight into your sauces without cooking it, in my opinion, it gives your food a bitter taste. Tonight we're making a beer cheddar soup, and like I said, I want it to be creamy, so I'm going to, at the end of this recipe, I'm going to put this in a blender or a food processor, and I'm going to blend it until it's creamy. But for now, all I'm doing is just cutting up these onions so I can saute them. I don't want to really big pieces, but it really, for my purposes tonight, it really doesn't matter. This one up really fast. All right.
Oh,
So I've got the onions cut up. I'm gonna cut up the garlic. I'm gonna use about 4 cloves of garlic. And I'm just gonna add these to the food processor also. If you're wondering why I'm wearing this crazy outfit, it's the ladies here got me to wear this getup. All the green we had, and this is what I got. So we got our garlic chopped up. I'm gonna cut up some carrots, and I'm gonna cut these pretty thin. These are gonna be my texture. The garlic and the onions are gonna be completely pureed into the sauce. The carrots themselves are gonna be the texture of the sauce in the soup, and I want to get those pretty thin. I don't want big chunks like that, so I'm just going to get rid of those little pieces that I can't cut.
They're like a 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch.
If that, yeah. But pretty thin. I'm just shaving them. And they'll just be like little flakes in there, but they'll be there and they'll be cooked. Same with the celery, I'm gonna get that pretty thin.
The fat is rendered and now the bacon is crisp. So here's what it looks like. And you can see there's like,
Take it out of the pan.
so we're gonna take it out of the pan now. So there's a bunch of grease in it and that's disgusting. And we do not want that. It actually could clog some of your tubes out.
In the drain, yeah. So
Yeah.
we drain in a can.
We're gonna saute the vegetables with the bacon grease.
So all the bacon grease that we didn't drain off, we kept a little bit, maybe 2 tablespoons, to give the vegetables really nice flavor. How long are we going to saute these, Phil?
We're going to saute the vegetables until they're translucent, as usual, which means kind of clear. So Chloe's finished sauteing our onions. Our onions are translucent, so we're going to go transfer those to our food processor. Like I said, you can use a food processor or a blender. They'll both work the same. But I'm going to dump these in. I'm going to roll out of there really quick. Put the lid on my food processor.
Our countertops are granite, so it's okay to do that. But most of the time, put it down on a hot pad.
Get those all the way out. Like I said, I don't want to have any of the texture of the onion. I'm going to cut up some celery. And along with my peas, my carrots, and my celery, that's going to be the texture in my food.
And that is the seed cutting method again.
Like, we have our onions, our celery chopped up. We're gonna take our pureed onions and garlic back over to the pan. Dump them in the pan. There.
And a little bit of flavor from the bacon is going to stay in there, so you're going to get a really good background taste of bacon.
Yep. And there we go. We're going to cook this a little more.
Oh, and the smells that are coming out of this kitchen.
Yeah, it's
Woo!
amazing.
It's amazing.
Ooh. A little strong standing right here with the onions and the garlic, but it does smell good.
I smell the cooked onions and with the bacon over here.
We're gonna let this cook for about maybe 5 minutes, just while I'm getting my other stuff ready to go.
So how do we know when it's done? You say about 5 minutes, but what's gonna happen to this? How are we gonna know it's done?
I'm just trying to make sure that when the soup is done, that my my celery and my carrots are soft.
About the texture of what? Biting into what would that be comparable to?
Like a cooked carrot, you know,
Like
a
a
soft
cooked carrot.
cooked carrot, you know, celery that was soft. I don't really want it to be crunchy in the soup. Next step is we're going to cut up our thyme. We have about 4 tablespoons of butter, 1/4 of a cup of flour, and we're going to make a roux with that. Just like everything that you're using flour with, you need to cook your flour. There's a couple ways to do that. You can cook that in with your vegetables in your oil, or you can just cook it by yourself, but you can't add flour straight to your sauce, or it'll ruin it. With you know, spices and such like that, herbs. I want to get this really fine, so I'm just going to go through that a couple times, and that's what I got. In this case, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to add all this stuff to a small saucepan. Okay, so I'm going to add this to a small saucepan on the stove, and I'm going to have Chloe, while she's sauteing our other vegetables, I'm going to have her also make this roux for you guys tonight.
And a roux, just in case you haven't seen our other videos, is a thickener.
Yeah, okay. So first we're going to add the butter. This small one. And we're going to melt it. Okay, so we're going to add the butter now. It kind of already melted. So we're going to put this right here, and then we're going to add this.
What heat are you going to put it on?
We're going to put it on medium, which is 5 for our stove. Now we're going to add the herbs, which is thyme.
I love the fresh cut herbs.
And this is from our garden.
Very nice.
So we're going to put this aside, sprinkle it around. Now we are going to add our 1/4 cup of flour.
And then how long are we going to cook this for?
We are going to cook this for 2 minutes until this is lightly browned. I'm going to stir this butter with the flour and herbs until this is lightly browned.
And it's going to be a continuous stir of blending everything together. Good job, Chloe.
Okay, it's lightly browned, like this. And as you can see, we put it on low.
So Chloe just finished making up our roux, so we're gonna start to finish the recipe here. So I'm gonna add the chicken broth, which is gonna be about 4 cups, and I'm gonna add 2 beers, 2 12-ounce beers. 2 beers to our onion and garlic, carrots, and celery mix. Add those. I'm gonna add our chicken broth. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start that to reduce.
And reduce means one more time?
It's going to just, I'm going to just evaporate off some of the water, and it's going to just, make it taste a little bit better, just because less water
Brings out the flavor.
More flavor. Yep. So, we got our roux done here. Looks great. Good job, Chloe.
Good job, Chloe. I can't even make a roux. Or I can barely make a roux. All right, and the smells that are coming out of here are incredible.
All right, so we got our roux, we've got our beer and chicken broth simmering on the stove. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add 2 cups of cream here. So I'm just gonna add about 2 cups. And I'm gonna add that to our large pan. And we're gonna start that cooking. And this is like a necessary step to this. If you just add your cheese to the liquid here, or while it's even mixed with the cream, the cheese is not gonna mix right, and it's gonna be lumpy. So we're gonna get our milk simmering. So I'm gonna just put it on medium high for now until it's boiling. And then I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna start grating my cheese. And I'm gonna grate a lot of cheese. So it's probably gonna be about 4 cups of cheese. Let's get my grater.
Now, which holes? There's so many different holes on this grater. What ones do we use?
Well, I want it to kind of melt into the cheese, into the cream pretty good. So I'm gonna use these small holes. And then, the medium small holes on the grater. The same one you'd use for making nachos or anything like that. And I'm going to grate all this cheese. It's probably about at least 12 ounces, 14 ounces of cheese. Cheese all grated. I'm just gonna bring this over and I'm gonna start stirring that in to my milk or my cream. And I'm gonna kind of stir that in slowly so that it doesn't cool down my cream too much.
What happens if your cream cools down?
Well, then it'll be too cool to melt the cheese, and it'll end up lumpy. So I'm gonna reduce the heat a little bit on that to a medium. Just gonna slowly mix that in. And the reason to do this is that, you know, the cream is fatty, the cheese is fatty, it's made from the same thing, and you know, in chemistry they say like dissolves like. Well, they're the same, so the cheese will easily mix into the cream, but it doesn't easily mix in with water or the chicken broth or the beer. So we're going to put it into the cream first to get it to melt, and then we're going to add our other ingredients. Okay, so we got our cheese melted into our cream. There we go.
And that's a consistency of almost like applesauce.
Yeah,
or
it's
very thinner?
really pretty thin, yeah. So we're going to add our roux.
And you add that to the cheese and the cream melted together.
I'm going to add that first.
Very important step.
Then I'm going to stir that in really quick.
About how much was that?
I would say that was a quarter of a cup, and then 4 tablespoons of butter. So stir all that in, and that's just going to barely thicken the soup. But it will thicken it a little, and then we're going to add our beer and chicken stock. You know, it's been simmering for a bit. The carrots and celery's well cooked, and it's hot, which is important. I'm going to add this to the hot. If you add this to the cheese when it's not hot, it's going to make it clump together. So we're going to add that. I'm going to stir it in really quick.
We're going to cut holes into our bread bowls. I'm just going to hold the knife down, and we're going to cut a large circle, almost hitting the bottom. Thanks. I'm trying to go as far out as I can so I can get the maximum amount of soup. And I don't want to cut all the way through the bottom for obvious reasons. I don't want the soup to leak out the bottom. This is sourdough bread. I think that's important. And you're gonna pull it out. Ooh, and this is gonna be great for dipping too.
And there you have it.
Thank you.
Okay, so with the holes that the ladies cut in our bread bowls, I'm going to use these to make a crouton. These are, they call this soup an Irish soup, but it's really an American soup with
American version.
Yeah, it's an American version. And actually, it made in America. They just add Irish spears to a cheese-based soup. The croutons are actually an Irish thing, and they're basically just chunks of bread baked in butter. And we're just gonna do that right now. Just make these some small chunks.
This is about the size, I would say about a quarter around an inch thick, inch by inch cubes. And something else about the soup, if you use any alcohol, it will cook out. And then this is the pan that we're gonna use to crisp the croutons.
Yep, so we're just gonna put a little butter in our pan.
Now, do we want the pan preheated?
Yeah, a little bit, I think. So would say that you want it preheated so the butter doesn't totally absorb. into the bread. So we're just gonna kind of swish that around until the bread kind of gets coated. Break up that big one, that one. I'm gonna add a little bit of garlic salt for flavor. And we're just gonna cook those until they're maybe like a toast consistency or a crouton consistency.
I find it so sexy when you cook for some reason. Oop, that was
Cooking. Our soup is essentially done now. After I added the chicken stock and the beer, the soup is more or less done. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a little bit of red hot sauce, and I'm going to add maybe like a teaspoon and a half of that. This is to taste, and I'm going to add a little bit of Worcestershire. I'm also going to go over to my fridge, grab a little bit of Dijon mustard.
What does a Dijon mustard do?
It just adds a really nice taste to it. And I'm going to add about a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. We're going to stir that around a little bit, and the soup is done. So now when our croutons are done,
and you can tell they're done when it's kind of crispy on the outside.
Yep. When they're done, we're going to put our soup in our bowls, and we're going to eat it.
This recipe is so funny because when we started making it, I was not hungry at all. But now all these smells are literally making me starving. My stomach is gurgling. I have this garlic and this cheese and this fabulous bread and this spices from our garden. It's amazing.
So our soup is done. We're just going to dish it up, and this should be really good. I've made this before a number of times, and it's like one of my favorite soup recipes. Just going to dish it into our bowls.
And how much time did that cook for? When you combined all of those ingredients from the dishes, the roux.
Once it's combined, it's done.
Oh, good to know.
So I just left it long enough to make my croutons, and that was it. It was time to eat it. There we have it, our soup. And then we're gonna put on a few croutons here. Those will be really tasty.
Very tasty.
And I just made those out of the bread that we cut out of the bread bowls. And there you have it.